Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are starting a vlog. And now I have realized about myself that I like making reading vlogs that are totally random. Like I have no idea what I'm going to be reading. I leave it up to either viewer recommendations or favorite booktubers. In this case, I'm leaving it up to the series that I want to continue in or start. And so I recently made a video. Hopefully recently, it depends on how long it takes me to read these books, but hopefully a recent video where I went through all of my series. I cataloged which series I'm in the middle of, which series I want to start, which, spoiler, there's more of those than there are of series I'm in the middle of. And so what I want to do is I want to take those lists and I want to use them to select randomly which series I'm going to read from. So in this video, I think what I'm going to do, my plan is to pick a book from a series I'm in the middle of, as well as a first book from a series that I'm either interested in or own, and then go from there. So that gives us a minimum of 2 books, but that also gives me the option that if I want to just binge a series, you guys, because that's how I prefer my series. If I want to do that, I can do that in this video. So I'm really excited for this, obviously. Obviously, I'm really excited. So let's just hop in. Let's hop into picking these books. I'm gonna use a spinner wheel. No surprise there. It'll be fun. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel. Welcome back. Like I said, we're picking at least 2 books for this vlog. And I've already uploaded some books in here. And what I've loaded up here first, which you'll see, are some of the series I am in the middle of. It looks like there's about 16 of them. Now, I did not include series I already have plans for, like that I am buddy reading with people or we have a read along going. I didn't include those because I already have plans for those series. But these ones, I don't. And so there's 16 of them. I feel like I'm more excited for some than others, but let's just spin the wheel. Okay, let me move it down. Let's see, spin what we're gonna get. What are we gonna get? Oh, I love this part. The passage? Oh, no, stay on the passage, stay. Yes! I'm so excited for that, you guys. I've been talking nonstop about this book in so many videos, like my summer favorites and I don't even know what else. I feel like I've been talking about it a lot. Okay, so the next book in the passage that I have to read is called The 12 by Justin Cronin. Let me go get it. Okay, so I went and picked it up. So here it is. Here's the book that I'm going to read for my continue in a series. Oh, yes, I needed a push to pick this up because I have some other big books I am reading that are on my TBR, and this one just never quite fit. And so now it does. And so this is the first book for this vlog. Let me get on here and we're gonna upload the series that I at least have the first book for or I'm really interested in reading. Okay, so I'm just gonna shuffle it a number of times here and then we're gonna see which series I'm going to start in this vlog. Okay, it's spinning. Okay, it's spinning. This is always so nerve-wracking and so fun, Oh, interesting. The Bonesmith. This is a new one I just got from my sister. I think it's YA. I know it's fantasy. I don't think it's fantasy romance. I honestly don't know that much about it. I do know the second book just recently came out, so this could be a really fun one to dive into. This could be really fun. Okay, so let me grab that. So actually I have a really pretty copy. Very loot. It's very beautiful. Although I'm not really a big fan of like her eyes. I don't know what's going on here. So this is Bonesmith by Nikki Palpretto. And I think this is only supposed to be a duology. I also like the fact that it's kind of a spooky season sort of book. And we are definitely in spooky season and I should be able to finish both of these. Again, this is a start. This is a continuation, but this is only a duology and this only has one more. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in this vlog. But I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get started. So I will check back in once I decide which book I'm going to pick up first, honestly. Hey guys. So I've been reading my most excited book. I mean, when I did the spin the other day, I was a little overexcited for this book, but it's The 12 by Justin Cronin. I've been looking forward to picking this back up. I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why it took me like running a fun little reading challenge vlog thing to pick it up, but I'm so glad I did because I'm about 120 pages in. I'm about 120 pages in, so I wanted to give you kind of a first check-in plus a little synopsis. And so like I already said, this is the second book in the Passage series. Now the Passage, I read this past summer. It was one of my favorite books of the summer. It is an apocalyptic world where there was this kind of virus accidentally on purpose made by the government, right? Okay. And then some events unfolded that were pretty intense, pretty scary, and we watched a lot of things happen and a lot of people kind of respond to the situation. And there's a girl named Amy, which I always mention because she's just kind of this really unique, special character that's going to like save the world, right? Well, Amy is still in this book. Amy's going to be in all of them, so that's not really a spoiler. She's a pretty main character. But there's a lot of other characters from the Passage that are like sprinkling in. So what I'm liking about this and finding very unique is the fact that it did not pick up right where the Passage left off. Like there was some intense stuff that happened at the end of the Passage. It was like a major cliffhanger where you're like, are they gonna make it? Oh no, there's thumping on the roof sort of idea. Like it was like very intense. And then it just stopped, right? And so now I'm picking this back up. It doesn't necessarily pick up there, but we're learning what happened. We're picking up new characters. We're actually doing something I really like in books, but I know drives some people just nuts, is it's like this book is starting over at kind of that day zero, like, you know, apocalypse sort of idea. And it's telling the story from a little bit different angles. So you're getting different perspectives. You're getting slightly different people, but not totally. Actually, there was a couple people in the first book where you learned a lot about, like, you followed them, you kind of got in their head, you heard their backstory, and then their story just dropped off. And I'm not actually a reader that noticed that. Let's be honest. I'm not. But when they came back in this book, you're like, oh, that's what was happening. That's why we cared, you know? And so that's just so fun to me. The other series I can think of that does this is Chorus of Dragons. And I loved that. Other people are like, man, it's just telling the same story. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not telling the same story. It's filling in gaps. It's giving us a little bit more information. It's trying to tell us the bigger, broader picture, which I really, really like. And we're also kind of circling back around to some characters we care about from the first book. It's not a book that I would say is easy to read. I don't want to dissuade you from reading these books, but I feel like the fun for me is like the connections and the Easter eggs and following this story and then following this story. And you do have to keep all your characters straight. And I am actually planning on listening to a lot of this book today because we're going to be in the car because it's what I call traveling homeschool, which is the fact that my in-laws have kindly gifted us like a cleaning lady every 2 weeks, but yet we can't stay and do homeschool. So we drive to different places. Anyway, so I'm planning on listening to that today, and I'm so excited. And before I go, I have to show you something. This is my favorite chair for the fall for a reason. Let me show you. And it never comes up as cool on camera as it is out the window, but this is my favorite tree. When we moved here like 4 years ago during 2020, I sit often right here and just face the window because it's so pretty. But anyway, I'm sure I'll check back in fairly soon because I'm really enjoying it so far. Okay friends, so I'm sitting at my puzzle table and I want to give you a book update. But first I'm going to show you this super cute puzzle, so hold on. It's a fall puzzle, and you guys, I use puzzles, all puzzles, to decompress. I feel anxious and I sometimes just feel it in my shoulders, and I've been having a rough couple weeks that have to do with homeschooling and solving different issues, and it's been good and it's been fine and I'm in a better place, but sometimes I think I put so much pressure on myself as like a home educator that it's tough, and I'm just tired and burnt out, and we're only in like week 9 or 10 of the homeschool year, which just feels too early to be burnt out. And so I'm doing a puzzle. I'm doing a puzzle because I need to, and I'm listening to audiobooks because that's also another thing that brings me joy. I'm listening to the 12. You knew that from my last update. Now, I'm not too much further. Well, I am. I'm at chapter 25. I'm in the 200 somewhere. I thought I was going to wait a bit to update you guys, but you know what? I have a few things I wanted to say. And this is hard because this is the second book in the series. But I stand by what I think about the series so far, or the first book and the second book so far, is it just has a grand scope to the book. And like I was saying in this last clip, it's kind of like they're starting over again at day zero with new characters and a different perspective I love that. I mentioned that. What I'm liking is I'm actually liking the pacing. I'm getting to points where I'd be like, oh, I'm a little bored, and then crazy things happen. Then I'd be like, oh, I'm not sure if I care that much about this. Oh, crazy things happen, sort of idea. And so you're getting to know new characters, which I think is hard in the middle of books. Sometimes I really don't like that. I don't want to start over, but the way this interweaves into just a big puzzle of characters and plot and just is really fun. It's really, really, really fun, and I love it. And it's exactly what I needed, you guys. It's exactly what I needed to just kind of have the puzzle, trying to puzzle out who's where, who's what, who's this person, and kind of what I'm liking about it all. And so that's really all I wanted to say in this update, is that I'm enjoying the pacing, and I'm surprised that I am, especially with the new characters. And I had an idea as to where this book was going to go, but I'm thinking it might not go that direction. And so I'm really curious. But anyway, I'm going to keep working on this, and I'll just check back in when I get further, much further this time. I am currently reading when I wasn't being distracted by my kiddos. I'm really far. I'm almost done. The last time I think I checked in with you guys was like somewhere in the 200s. That's right. I was doing the puzzle. That was a bad day. That's okay. This is a better day, but I am reading this. I'm liking it. I have some thoughts. So I have about, I think, like 70 pages left in this book. And I stand by everything I've been saying about it, but I would say this is definitely suffering a bit from second book syndrome. Not in a terrible way, not in a way that's like, oh my gosh, I just really dislike this book. No. I mean, we are definitely getting a lot of good information from all of these characters. We are getting really important things, but I think, in my opinion, it feels like the setup for the third book. Does that make sense? I feel like other books have done this. Oh, the Mistborn books, I felt like this with the second book, where it's like, this is clearly set up for how this whole thing's going to conclude, which is really good. It's also giving us really good information about these like new plot lines and almost like these new bad guys, if you will, which I like. I really like. It is definitely a book and a world that has high stakes. It's got some intense parts. It's definitely got some gory parts. We're talking post-apocalyptic. We're talking like there's virals on the loose. There's just this, there's some seriousness to it, but there's also kind of stakes in some of our characters, which that part I just kind of got to in this book where I'm like, I'm not sure if that was necessary. I believe the fact that the newly developed bad people are bad people. I didn't need one of our main female characters to go through some like assault for me to believe that. I'm not a big fan of that in books, or if there's some reason that had to happen, okay. But if it was just in the book to show me how serious this world is or how scary it is, I was there. I understood. I would not want to live during this time. I don't need convincing. So that's like the part where I'm just like, oh. So know that, I guess. I always like to make sure, even if that feels a little spoilery. I don't really think it is because it's not central to the plot in my opinion, but I do like to say that kind of stuff because I know it can be triggering for some people. So anyway, that's where I'm at. I am excited. It's definitely ramping up. It's ramping up this last 70 pages. So I needed to get on here and let you know my thoughts before it is over and done. And so the next time I will be back, it will be to let you know how I'm liking it. But I honestly am thinking and feeling 4-star, not 5-star, but still 4-star, still like really enjoying it. So I brought you to my back deck because I finished my book. We're actually in the middle of our homeschool day and it's cold. It's cold. We're in the middle of our homeschool day. My big kids are working on their math and my younger ones are in there just playing. They're right over there. They'll be fine. Oh my gosh, it's been such a day. Sometimes when I homeschool, it's totally fine. Like we had a really good week and then today it all kind of exploded. And so my kids are the sweetest and they're like, okay, mom, let's go get, like, they call it my emergency Starbucks. And so we went and got an emergency Starbucks and it's freezing, but I have really been enjoying the cold brews. So I got a pumpkin cold brew. I'm going to drink that while I let you know my final thoughts on this book. I really did enjoy this book. I felt like it took me a long time to read, but that's just because I feel like books like this, I don't feel like it would do it justice to read it quickly or to read it too much on audio. I feel like there's just a lot going on. There's a lot of characters. We're hopping from character to character, which I think could drive people nuts because there's a fair amount of main characters. Like it's almost a story that's not told by a main character. I just had that realization. There's a lot of main characters and they're all important. And we got to the end of this one. I liked it. I liked the way it concluded. I almost thought it like concluded forever. If I didn't know there was a third book, I would have been like, this is pretty tight. Until like the like almost epilogue section where you're like, oh yeah, that part hasn't been solved, and that's pretty major. I don't want to give any spoilers, obviously. But I liked how our characters developed. I like the character arc. I like where we are left off. It feels like another cliffhanger of sorts, kind of like the first one was that way too. And so 4 stars. I would say I have very similar feelings that I had with the first one on just like the story arc and how big it is and how broad it is and how detailed and kind of like thought-provoking it is. But at the same time, this did read like a second book in a bigger, larger series. There was a lot of what feels like a bit of setup, even though not totally. This did kind of conclude a major story arc. I just feel like character-wise, we were in the middle pretty much this whole time. They were going through things that they needed to go through in order to get in a spot to conclude the story, is how it felt. So no real complaints, honestly. I think it's a great book. I highly recommend it to most people. Again, kind of like what I was saying in the last clip, it is intense and it is kind of gory at times. And so there's some people who maybe just shouldn't pick it up. But the complexity and the cleverness of the story are fantastic. And if you're okay with like a pandemic-ish type book, then I highly recommend these. So this one is down. I thought about just picking up the next one and continuing and just binging the series, but this took me like 2 weeks to read. And so I'm going to start my next book. I'm going to start Bonesmith book by Nikki Palpretto, I think it is. And so I'd say this has definitely been successful for a continuation in a series. So I will check in once I start the next book. Okay, friends, I am precariously propping you on a bunch of books because I just filmed my end of the year TBR tag, but yet I have started my second book for this vlog and I wanted to update you guys. I am reading Bonesmith, which we talked about at the beginning of this video when I spun for a new to me kind of series. And I did not know what this book was about, and I'm really liking it. So this is basically, it's about our main character of Ren, who lives in this world where there are people called bonesmiths, and they're kind of basically, they can get their magic from bones, and they are trained to either be a Valkyr, which is what Ren wants to be, or a Rapier, I think it says, which is more of the person who is involved in severing like a ghost from its bones. And so this is a group of people who help kind of protect the land against the undead, against the ghosts, against the people who have not passed on. Okay, so she has this magic in her, and at the beginning of this book, she is in this trial. She's basically been trained up, and now this is like her final exam, if you will, her trial to see if she can be a Valkyr in this society. And some things go wrong, and she's kind of tricked and all this stuff, and then she ends up exiled. So that's all part of like the synopsis. And I thought that part was really fun, and I also felt like it was a good way for us to get to know our main character, to get to know kind of like what makes her tick. I think she's a really fun main character. I think she's sassy. I think she's got some personality, but I also enjoy some of the realness, like where there's some parts in here where she thinks to herself, well, I should just run for the trees and save myself. And then she's like, no, I can't do that. As where in other books, sometimes the just like main characters are just so selfless. That's the word. So selfless. They're like, just throw themselves into anything. And I don't know, I just liked that. I like the realness in it. I enjoy where this story is going. Like she's met somebody who is going to help her potentially, and they're kind of on a questy adventure sort of thing. I'm actually not sure if there's any romance involved in this or not. I think probably, and I'm hoping it stays kind of as a secondary plot, because so far it's very secondary, and the main plot of her kind of winning back the favor of her people, of the bonesmiths, is front and center, and I'm really, really enjoying that. I'm really enjoying learning about the world and kind of the good, bad, maybe not so bad people involved. And so I'm like 132 pages in. But anyway, that's my update. I will check in once more, hopefully, before I finish. Okay, guys, I had to put you up here really quick because I am homeschool planning again. I feel like I talk about this in every vlog, but I'm often doing this. This is my monthly planning where I'm planning a lot of stuff. You guys, I'm planning Christmas. I'm planning Christmas. I'll just hold it up. It's like Advent and crafty things and like books to read. And so I'm in the process of doing all of that. And of course, I'm listening to The Bonesmith. Guys, I did this last time. Where I just was like, oh, I'll just listen to a little bit. And I've listened to most of it. I'm like, I have maybe 10 chapters left. And so I was like, I had better hop back on here, give you guys a quick update as to what I'm thinking and feeling about this book, because I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. You guys, I don't know if I'm just easy to please with my books, because I feel like I'm always coming on here being like, I love this book, which I think is good. I don't really like watching people have totally negative opinions, but I'm enjoying it. So now, I can't remember how I described it last, but I've been enjoying our main character of Ren. And yes, this is, I think, a romantasy-esque book, but so far, right along the lines of what I like in fantasy with a light romance plot, right? Okay. I love the action, adventure. I love the fact that they're kind of on the road. They're traveling, right? I know some people hate that, but they're like traveling to certain places. Some of it was a little convenient, but I still am enjoying what they're after. I'm enjoying kind of the reveals. I'm enjoying like the betrayal in some of the reveals in this story so far. I think the magic is really fun. I think it's confusing, but not in a bad way, but more in a way that like I want to know more. And our characters are also confused. So it's not like the author's doing a bad job of giving us information. What it is there's just this aspect of their world. Like, so she's a bonesmith. So her house of people can control bones in ways. That's where their magic comes from. That's what their main profession is, to kind of deal with the undead. Okay, so then there's other smiths, like silversmiths, goldsmiths, ironsmiths, ghost smiths. There's these like elusive ghost smith group of people that apparently caused this really big bad war thing to her parents' generation. Okay. And his parents' generation, because she meets someone along the way. And I don't want to like say too much, but he's from kind of a different house, if you will. So in a way, they're enemies. But I feel like that got dropped fairly quickly. And they're more like reluctant allies, is how I would put these two kind of main characters. In light of the fact that I know the name of the next book, which I'm tempted to continue this series. I don't have the book though. And so I'm like, oh no, I don't have the book. If I could get it on audio, maybe I will just keep going. So I'm going to stop talking. I'm going to keep planning, finish the book probably, maybe today. If I do, I'll hop back on. But anyway, you guys, I'm loving it. It's so much fun. Okay, friends, I'm in a little funny location because I'm homesick with a kiddo. He is out watching some Blue's Clues, right? Blast from the past. He's watching that and everybody else is at church. And so I thought I would give a quick update in between his episodes and then I'll go watch with him. But I finished the book. This is really fun. I was gushing about this yesterday. I found it to be so much fun. And I feel like the end was a little bit underwhelming. I feel like it left us at a good break point, but kind of how things concluded and kind of the stakes at the end of the first book, I'm like, really? I'm not quite sure if you would have been that lucky. I felt like some of these characters, some of the bad characters, which I'm not going to say who, because some of that was a surprise and some of that was kind of clever. I feel like they're explained as these just ruthless characters. And some of the things they do is just very ruthless. But then our main character kind of feels like she gets off a little bit easy. Like it was a little too simple. You saw how things were going to go here at the very end. Now that doesn't bother me. This is YA. I never know if a book is YA or not. But this one is. There are many things I do like. I like our characters. All of them. I feel like they're all really good and they all play a part. And so that's fun. I like our magic system. I like the world we're dealing with. I feel like what it was for me is there was some definite plot holes. There was the main trope. Okay. Does anybody else do this with YA fantasy or any fantasy in general when like the main character's like, oh, I just live with my dad or my mom and I don't know who my dad is. I don't know who my mom is. And you're like, oh, that's going to come into play and you're going to be more special than you know sort of idea. And this definitely has that trope. It does. And it's okay because you could see it coming and you're like, okay, something's going to come of that, right? But there was other things that happened in the book that I didn't see coming that I thought were really clever. That wasn't what I was expecting. And so I really, really like that. So I feel like star-wise, I'm probably hovering between like a 3.75, and a 4. I never quite know how to do that, like, because a 3 is way too low. But a 4 feels like maybe a little much, but then my enjoyment was pretty high, so it might end up at a 4. I have to sit on that a little bit. Like I said, I just literally finished it last night. And so what I'm going to do, instead of ending the video here, which I thought about, I thought it would be a lot more fun to binge a series. And one of them I'm really enjoying, and to heck with my TBR. That's what I said. Like, I'm like, oh, I have lots to read in November. But you know what? I really want to read the rest of this story. And when I really want to read something, I should just do it. And so I did look on the library, and it is available. It just has to be shipped to my library so I can pick it up. And same with the audiobook, I'm like first in line for it. So I feel like I'll probably go read something else and then come back and finish this off. And so I can finish this vlog and let you know my full thoughts on the entire series, which is just fun. I like binging series, like I said already. And so I'm going to leave you here and be back once I pick up the library book. Alright, so I got the book. I got the book from the library. Like, it only took a couple days. And so I decided I am definitely going to read it. I'm going to just binge this series because I just love binging series. And so I started it. It picked up right where it left off. I'll let you know how I feel. I just wanted to check in and let you know that that's what I'm doing, and I'm really excited about it. And also, this vlog is going to seem a little bit crazy because it's only been a couple days. And I literally showed you guys like the fall leaves and all this stuff. And now I'm going to show you something else. And now we're having like the biggest winter storm ever. Like, it's like record-breaking October storm. Seriously, it's crazy town. And so it looks like it's taking me probably like 3 months to film this. It's not. It's taking me a little while just because I decided I'm going to make it a 3-book vlog instead of a 2-book vlog because I just want to read this book. I just want to read it, and that's how I'm feeling. And so I'll be back with probably fewer updates only because there's not much to say and it's a sequel. And I don't want to spoil the first one. So anyway, I'll see you in a bit. I'm sitting down on the floor by my desk because I didn't want to sit in my desk anymore because I was working on some stuff. But I needed to update you all. I needed to let you know that I am finished with this book. I realized I didn't give any updates as I was going, but it is a second book. So if I would have stopped like halfway through reading it, I probably would have let you know that I was kind of a little underwhelmed. I was still enjoying our characters. It definitely is an action adventure type fantasy with a little bit of romance, definitely YA. I really liked the magic. I like the relationships, but maybe not the main relationship. And I think that's what kind of got me in the end. Like the first book, you know, you have kind of your 2 main characters. There's that tension, and I realized I really like the tension. And then when you get to like the second book, in this case, there was like the conflict to overcome, of course, but it was like there's no longer any tension, and so I just wasn't liking that as much. That wasn't driving the plot for me. I felt like I really liked our female character. She had her flaws, but our main male character just felt a little flat. Like I don't really care. I didn't really care about his perspective. Like, and what's funny is it's not just YA, because at first I was thinking it's YA, but then I've been randomly reading some Shadowhunter, some Cassandra Clare. Just because this time of year I always kind of get stressed, and those kinds of books draw me in. And the thing is, those characters are so good. They're so distinct. They're so unique and angsty and wonderful. And so it's not just YA characters, I guess is what I'm going with. I feel like with this book, there definitely was some kind of overarching problem to be solved. And it was a little complicated, but I could follow it because the magic was really interesting. I think the magic system I liked a lot. I feel like in the end, the resolution was a little too simple in comparison to how evil the bad guy was, if you will. And so it's like, oh, that's it? Okay, all right. And I think that kind of let me down too. Although I always have to remind myself I'm reading YA, right? There's just a different level, you know what I mean? And so, yes, I think in the end, because I just finished this, I think I'm gonna give it like a 3.5. I enjoyed the first one more. I gave that one 4 stars. This one I might give like 3.5 stars. I didn't enjoy it as much, but I felt like the story arc concluded well. I feel like it's a fun duology. If you just want a fun, like action-packed, traveling adventure, really interesting magic system with some higher stakes, it's really fun, and I would highly recommend it if that's your kind of reading. And there is a little bit of romance, but it's nothing too crazy, I guess is the best way to describe it. And so I am so glad I ended up just binging that series. I feel like it would have taken me a while to pick up the second one if it weren't for this video and just deciding that I wanted to take advantage of the fact that I was filming and I could finish off this series. And so I made progress in the Passage series by Justin Cronin. I have one more book. I honestly wanted to pick that up in this video and finish it off, but man, those books take me a while to read and I kind of have to just pace myself. These ones, much faster. Like, I honestly just picked out that book from the library and I flew through it. So that was the perfect kind of book to binge. And so I started and finished a series and continued a series in this vlog. So super, super fun. I'm gonna definitely continue with these types of vlogs. I think they're fun and I love series. So you guys, that's all I have. I hope you are well. I hope you're enjoying kind of the end of 2024, which is just crazy. And yeah, I'll see you in the next reading vlog when I decide what other kind of random way I'm going to pick my books. But if you made it to the end of this video and don't have anything you necessarily want to say, let's do a ghost for Ghostsmith. Just one of that cute little ghost emoji. So put that down below, and otherwise you guys, like the video if you liked it, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you guys in the next video. All right, take care.